truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it, it's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.
And shalom to each and every one of you. I hope that you're doing well and enjoying your day. This is the opportunity to bring, again, some very good understanding to a lot of issues. Those of you who are with us here in Darash Kingdom Ministries, you are, I'm glad you're here, first off. And I'm going to probably ask you guys to keep your chatting down to a minimum today. I want to really take an opportunity to break something down for many who are with us, who are here. We're going to be coming to you in just a second. I want to see if we can't get a few more of the Darash Kingdom Ministries citizenship in on this. Therefore, I want you to take opportunity for another 45 seconds to enjoy the melodic sounds of Wednesday.
Truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it, it's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.
All right, here we are back with you today, and another great opportunity to share what I think is a very good truth of a lot of things. So I want y'all to join with me in a word of prayer because I've got a lot going on today, as is every day. Hope that everybody can understand, embrace, and be a part of it, as each of you desperately matter to the kingdom of Elohim. So this is, of course, a private room. If you are not a part of the ministry of DKM Ministries, we're going to probably have you to be moved through and go from there. But I want to share it as a teachable moment for those who are part of the DKM processing and ministry, because this is what we call the Darash Kingdom Ministries, and we seek to teach, to help, to show, to learn, to grace people with what is known as wisdom any way that we can in this time. I think that this is a perfect. All right, good. A private state. Those of you who are with us on YouTube or Facebook, glad to have you with us. Let's pray. Father, thank you for the word, will, plan, and purpose of our lives that you've given unto us. We hope that you are glorified in our lives. We live life every day, but yet we don't understand how sometimes life has to be lived out in practical terms. So I pray you now, as you release my heart, but also restrain by your word the practices that we must operate under and by. I ask you now to be glorified in all things done and all things spoken. And this we pray, that you alone receive glory, you receive honor and edification to your body, and those who serve you might be made real, true, and evident. In the mighty and in the matchless and in the precious name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we all pray, we all say, and we all speak. Amen. All right, everybody. Today, I can't do any ministering and teaching today because of a principle that we believe in. The Bible declares that if you have aught with a brother or a sister, go to that brother privately and be reconciled to that brother or sister. Brother means of the same faith. Be reconciled unto that brother and or unto that sister, and let Elohim do what is necessary to be done for the reconciling of that matter. All right. Now, a lot of pastors and teachers quote it. Very few actually live it. So today I'm going to have what we call a transparency moment with you all, because I cannot teach the gospel to the masses as I would usually do, because I've got to get something remedied with another brother of the faith who I love so desperately. We just haven't, schedules just don't let us get together and chat right now. And it happened so quickly, and it is what it is, but I still can't just go on with life like that's it. There is a principle in the kingdom, not your church. In the kingdom, there is a method in the kingdom we must always apply. So I have a matter that developed from an issue, but it's not with that one person alone, the issue. The matter is with that one person, but the issue that that person is dealing with in a way they may not be well aware of is something that happens frequently in what is known as DKM or VWJ ministries. And so I want to take the opportunity to make sure that we all understand that we love you here in this ministry. It is a different ministry. We are not your average church. And we produce programming and teachings for you every single solitary day, literally, as well as because of our far reach and the longevity and tenure that I have had in ministry. We span 5 different continents, countless nations, and we've affected countless people, as any ministry worth its weight or its purpose should. My heart's a little heavy because I persevere in trying to make sure that everybody gets an understanding and everybody gets the understanding of life. So today I couldn't go to the studio, so I stayed here at my home until I can get clearance with my beloved brethren of the same faith, who we have a misunderstanding or a misinformation and a misunderstanding. Ain't no hatred, no fighting, no warring. Just we have alt. So and we don't have like alt. I don't have alt with them, but I can tell that there is alt there with me. And until I can talk with them and hear their heart and see their heart's intent, I cannot just persevere and share the good news of Elohim's kingdom with you all on the platform that we have that reaches so many. So I have to, until I get that alt straight, I have to restrict how I teach or how often I share until I get that matter resolved. So I have no alt with anybody, at least no alt with anybody that we have not made every effort to remedy. And this one here, I have to make sure that we have a remedy between us, a reconciling. It's, again, probably nothing big, nothing major. Some might say, oh, just go ahead and teach. That's not the kingdom. That's church. I can't be ever a pastor or a leader or a apostle who will shortcut intentionally and after much thought the process of his kingdom for the sake of the construct of churching. And so that means to go and start teaching when there is clear notification that someone has alt. We got to fix the alt, because that's within the brotherhood. Otherwise, there'll be dissension. And then by dissension, the serpent can come in and bite. For me, it's all about unity. And two can't walk together except they be agreed. And if you're not walking with me, that means we're not agreeing. So we must at least come to the point where we understand what we agree and what we don't agree on. And then we agree how we go forward. Now, many ministries will just say, oh man, get up there and preach. But I can't see how pastors still fighting with other pastors in different denominations and organizations have a known clear feud and still get up and speak from the Bible as if that's an accurate way of ministering, serving the people, the sheep, the children of Elohim. I'm not talking about your personal proclivities and sin. I'm talking about the construct of the organization that you call Christianity. It is supposed to demonstrate the kingdom, but yet we demonstrate church policy instead. So today, I've got to get this off head and off chest. That's why we don't have the preceding word, which is the normal scheduled programming for today. And I want to make it a part for DKM, the Darash Kingdom Ministry citizenship, to understand these principles. So I'm going to just jump right in after this 11-minute lead up and let you guys understand some things. Many of you who I am so proud and honored to be given by you the responsibility or the task of helping you have a better relationship with the Father by way of not glorifying me, but showing you his word and studying his word with you. And as you see the word in a new way, helping you to make sure you keep the lenses of the Torah on as you read the Bible, which is a part of your faith. So I am honored to know that some of you think that I do that well enough that you follow this ministry. You sought this ministry out. You said, hey, would you continue to teach me? And you said, hey, I want to be a part of this because I'm growing in leaps and bounds. And in all my 30 years of church, 20 years of church, being in ministry, I've not learned this way, and it feels good. And I'm expanding and I'm broadening my peace of mind via the faith. So I am honored and I'm humbled that any of you see this broken vessel, this, like Paul, wretched man that I am, as someone who can help guide you towards the Father and leave you there at the throne, leave you there alone so you can know him personally and you have no middleman between you and him. That's what Darash Kingdom Ministries and VWJ Ministries is all about. Regardless of the person, I got 1.5 million issues, struggles, all the days of my life. Like Paul, oh wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death, while I yet share and speak and teach his truth to you, so you have a concentrated, proven, vetted program that Elohim says works to please him. Now, having said all that, you might think it's just ramble. I won't be able to teach until I get a chance to share or speak with my beloved brother about, whatever's got us, not chatting and responding. And so to do that, if I push through and try to do preceding word, or if I push through and try to do our Bible study, weekly Bible study here in Darash Kingdom Ministries, I will be speaking from what we call an unclean vessel, meaning I will be with the spirit of division, delivering a word of unity. I'll say that again. If I do not get aught right with my brother, which is not a big aught, but it is something that needs to be remedied before you can go and speak. And I want to let this be a teachable moment to all DKM, Know Your Calling, VWJ Men, Bible Book Club, Preceding Word, supporters across this globe. If everything's not settled in you, you are not settled to teach the word of Elohim. I don't care if the church is your responsibility. I don't care if, you are the founder. If you're not settled within yourself, you will not be able to speak the word of Elohim to others in a serving capacity. You will be sending them out shaky, unstable, understanding and teaching. Now, what does that mean? And why are we having this conversation and not doing preceding word? I think everybody needs a backdrop. Now, those who've been with me for decades, you understand this because you know when we switched out of brick and mortar churching and came into virtual churching, how we were ridiculed, told we're not a ministry, full-blown ministry, and we've been doing this for decades, right? And before we came out of brick and mortar, we've been doing that for decades. So we've been in this a long time, and we've shifted per knowledge of the instructions of Torah versus my theological training in the system and construct of church, which I'm not coming for. However, I no longer endorse much of what happens in church, meaning we gather 9 times a year. We don't keep communion under the Holy Eucharist construct. We keep communion under Pesach. We keep our fasting according to Sukkah. We keep our times of fellowship under Sabbath keeping. So every Friday at sundown until Saturday at sundown is Sabbath. We don't go to church, as it were. We become the church. We allow for Elohim to come into our homes. We don't leave our homes to go to the house of God, when in the word it says, do not leave your dwelling space on the 7th-day Sabbath. So we follow it per the writ, and it does go against the need in Christian construct for people to galvanize at a building, because it affects dynamics financially, relationally, and in many different ways. And we know it's different, so we sit quietly back and we live this life. We don't judge you or browbeat anybody about it. But when we're teaching it, we teach it passionately so that it is understood by those who may be seeking truth, wondering why I get what I do in church, but it's got to be more. So that group of people, apparently, we appeal to sometimes. So when we shifted from brick and mortar churching, and all of the pastors that I oversee, all of them have not yet given up their brick and mortar. And there are myriad of reasons. So we're down to about 16 churches out of the 27 we cover that still carry brick and mortar, and it's beautiful. It's no problem. And we don't broadcast who those pastors are. They just know we have a relationship that helps them help their people grow closer to the Father. And we don't need to broadcast it because we're not trying to be grand. We just trying to make it in. What's that got to do with you not teaching the word today on PW? Well, a part of the riff is that, and I've had it with others, there's 2 things I want to touch on. And every one of you who are DKM, I want y'all to hear this. I take chance right now of making what people say, oh, you're going to expose yourself. Yeah, I'm very willing to do that. Transparency is everything for me. However, one of the things that came up in conversations with not just this one person, but several people that I sort of kind of put on the back burner because we address it every year. But in the last 4 months, I've had at least 8 people who are now new to the DKM citizenship, Darash Kingdom Ministries citizenship, asking, so you say you gather 9 times a year, but you don't gather. Where you gather at? Okay. So this, for some reason, ruffles a lot of people's feathers, and they don't understand that process. For the last 3 years, as many of you know, we've not been able to gather because of COVID. We are now freshly out of COVID, but even right now, PSA announcement, COVID is getting an uptick, as well as another virus that's catching up, not the RSV, but something else connected to COVID. They have a new strand of it. Because of the vaccines, there's no urgent matter of concern, but there is a concern in the uptick and the level of hospitalization visits due to this virus. Though they are much more manageable and much less painful, they still exist and you still can catch it. So I say to everybody, stop breathing, okay? Stop breathing on people, and be careful who all you're breathing around and on and breathing from. All right. Now, what I want y'all to understand is this, that because people don't understand what you do because they're accustomed to where they've come from, that's called a default. We default back to what we cut our teeth on. Now, there's a story in our Bible that many people don't relate to default. And that story is our Savior on the cross. When he, in fact, hung on the cross and he went through what you all call the 7 last words, one of those last words, he said, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Now, he did that through a body that was in stress from shock he was under, because he's been whipped, he's been bruised, he's been beaten, and he's bleeding out, and he's affixed on a cross, dehydrating under a sun. And what he cut his language on is in fact Aramaic, though his family was Hebrew. Hebrew and Aramaic are sister languages. I mean, very, 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 very close. But where Yeshua had to be born or had to be raised was in Egypt. Many Christians don't know that. So he was raised in Egypt. And when he came back to Israel, as it were, Udea, for the manifesting of his purpose, he cut his teeth on Egyptian culture and lifestyle, though he kept the Torah, because his family kept the Torah. They came back and forth over the waters to go to the feasts, every one of them, as required 3 times in a year per season, 3 seasons per year. But when he got here, he was also in a sister language, which made it easy, Aramaic to Hebrew. And so the phraseology, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, is almost identical. It is actually phonetically identical to what King David cried in the book of Psalms when he said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. So everybody's saying Messiah hanging on the cross, knowing he is a Jew, Israeli blood, they heard him say in stress, my God, why have you forsaken me? But they believed he was speaking in Hebrew. But default kicked in. He is speaking from Aramaic, because in the Aramaic, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, same phonetic, says, my God, for this purpose have I come. Default. So when you don't know that, you do what the Pharisees and the bystanders did when they said, oh, he cries like David cried. See, he's being forsaken of God because he sinned. He messed up. He was blaspheming. He deserves what he's getting. That's Isaiah 53. Now you say, Apostle, I thought you couldn't teach today. I'm not. I'm just sharing to understand why I can't teach today. Now, for those of you who this doesn't have any, real substance for, because you may or may not be a part of the citizenship, this may or may not make sense to you. But I want you to understand this if you care. When we have our own preconceived ideals based on the constructs we were structured under, we were given faith under, we lean back to our defaults more than we think. So now that we don't gather in our church buildings as we used to, and we say, hey, 9 times out of years when we do, people who say, well, I want to become a citizen of this kingdom post. All right, great, wonderful. That's your choice. You chose to come and be a part of this fellowship. We know everything about church. I have been a part of every type of board, every type of chancellery. I have been on every type of system leadership that we have inside of Christendom. And I digress from all of that purposefully because of what even I'm showing and teaching you today, while trying to make sure we all get it. So when you come here and become a citizen of the Kingdom Post, your transition period is always a little iffy, and we are aware of that. My staff, the leaders who help me are few, but the people we serve are very, very many. And we have been able to do that with our nucleus over the last 2 decades, 1.5, closer to 2 decades, through a system of scheduling and ordering and making appointments. And we have 3 admins that keep all of our business, counseling, marriage, ministry, personal schedules together. And we've had great success doing it. However, because of who I am and what I do, when emergencies happen, things can affect that schedule. So the part that we're talking about now is the gathering together 9 times in a year and why you don't do it. Last 3 years, we've been in COVID. Now we're out of COVID, but you have to understand things have drastically changed as well. Even while we were doing the gathering 9 times, everybody couldn't gather. So we'd still have at the gather video so that those who could not come here because of just coming into the faith of keeping the feast, you're not financially prepared to do that. Traveling, staying, sacrificing, then going back, and all that goes with that, that takes preparation. It does. So our mercy and grace to you is making sure that we still remain compliant with the gather by having, as we do on our Sabbath studies, we also have our Morrow After Sabbath services for all of our global membership right here on our programming. You're gathered. You're here doing the same thing where you're doing it. But because of the default, due to the construct of Catholic, Protestant Christianism, we have gotten accustomed to coming together and touching each other and praise the Lord and having the ushers guide you to your seat and all that wonderful stuff. And that's what we really do prefer. It's like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Kingdom, we're glad when they said unto us, let's go to the house of Yahweh so we can render our bodies a living sacrifice, render our sacrifices to the King, and then return home because we still treat that day as a 7th day. So there are people who still feel the need of that church enveloping experience. And if they don't have that, they don't feel that they're in a ministry. To you, I say, we love you. I promise you we do. But if you need that, we may not be able to provide that you. And the 9 times that we do gather, it may be in Jamaica one time, it may be in the UK another time, it may be in South, East, West, North America another time. And you may not be financially able to get there, but this ministry utilizes everything that comes in to giving you the ability to virtually gather and still be a part live time in that programming. And if we don't explain that often enough time, new people coming in miss the window of that explanation and now wonder, well, are you lying? And we're not. I won't take that offensively. I take that understandably, that there is a need for perpetual communications. And most people who do gather don't make it their business to really listen to everything that sets the premise for the ministry. We're just glad to be in it. We're glad to learn what's on the table, but we've not thought about what made the table. We've not thought about what made the room. We've not thought about what put the table under the chairs under the table. But we like what's on top of the table. We grab that and we get out. But there is protocol and there is structure to everything that we do. So for those of you who have become recent citizens of DKM Ministries and you want to have that, we feel you. I wanted it as well. However, there is the dynamic we have. And thank Elohim for technology. We still can comply with the instructions of the writ and make these things a reality for us. That's part 1 of why I'm having this teachable moment. So the 9 times we gather are very real. We have them. every single time. And we honor them in full capacity. And when we are cleared, and I believe wisely that we can breathe on each other without running ourselves into another epidemic or pandemic, God forbid, we can do this so that no one is stressed out. No one is, financially burdened under it. These virtual gatherings help everybody be a part. We may not ever go back to a full blow of gathering on Sundays. I will make sure that we find a way to gather on the 9 days that are mandatory per Leviticus 23, Devarim 16:16. But remember, you may not be able to attend physically because many have not and do not budget for it. But DKM can't judge anybody by that. We can only put out for you what he says to do, provide a space for that to happen within, and then you have to determine whether you can or can't do that. And that default may say, I wasn't budgeted, I didn't prepare, and I can't go. But thank Elohim, they at least have it on virtual stream and I can be there live time. So before you judge because of another matter that precipitates some form of animosity, and then this comes up, see, and they don't even keep what they said they keep. I can't tell you how many times it's happened over the years, and we're used to it. Today reminded me, maybe we need to sit down with those who believe in us and we believe in them to share with all of that. So at the end of the day, what we want to make sure we do is this. Understand we are not here for anything. We're not here for anything that deals negatively or inappropriately to your life. We're here to show you the word. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to be your typical pastor Christianity has structured for you. And that default of Christendom construct doesn't work here. We do follow the writ. We try to make sure you know who you are in him. That's why we have our KYC coursing. Problem comes in a lot of times when people do get the KYC, they're like, okay, well, now I know I'm this, I'm prophet, evangelist, pastor, or teacher. And then we also default to just ways we were natured. That's nothing negative. That is me being understanding of how we do, because I did it. And it took me years to realize just because I know who I am doesn't put me in a position to judge anybody by that. So Kristen Cheney, I'm not sure who you are, but when I asked everybody, if you got here earlier, if you're a part of KYC, if you're a part of DKM, we're not doing a whole bunch of threading. So I'm deleting. Nobody's deleting but me. I control the thread today. This is not an actual function of our ministry. This is the ministry, or me as a person, explaining how we do what we do in the ministry. So we don't have time for all that. And I'm giving y'all what you need to know. So if you pay attention and listen and stop writing, you might learn the answers to the questions you have inside. So allow for that to happen first, respectfully. And within love, we share everything that we got. Okay. So when there is an ought, I don't share, because I don't want to ever speak from my soul the great news of Elohim, knowing that there's division within the camp. That's not good. The camp has to be solidified. The camp has to be brought to a place of comprehension and understanding, and then we have to move forward together as a unit. If you leave anything behind, anyone behind who is in the camp and has been, as it were, affected by that, then you must understand how we move forward together. Now, whatever comes out of this camp is effective to the kingdom of Elohim. You do not have that construct in Christendom. The pastor will have a problem with the mother, the usher, the deacon, the associate pastor, the minister, another pastor across town, the bishop over them, their district, their diocese, or whatever, and still get up and preach. And the next thing you know, or the problem with their wife or their husband, and get up and preach. And you're like, man, why are they so angry? Because they are angry and they've not got peace. They've not resolved whatever the issue that brought them this agitation. That is ineffective ministry, though it looks like ministry, because now they screaming, they hollering, you got music behind them, drums, and all that noise and clamor makes it look like that's the anointing. Believe me, beloved, it's not. So in this ministry, I take seriously, if there is an offense, have it remedied. If you have found that a brother has an fault with you, go to your brother and have that alt remedy. Leave your gift at the altar. Leave your gift at the altar. Go be reconciled. Then come again. Now, let me be very clear, because everything that Elohim has is balance, right? There's good and there's evil. They both exist in the same sphere. One side is good, one side is evil, but that's balance. It rains on the just as well as the unjust. So even though we may share this principle, many people will take that, though good intended, and try to exploit it in evil. So when I say, if you have not gone to a person and you understand that there is an alt there, but you've poured everything out with that person, you've shared everything you can share with that person concerning the alt, they've heard you, you've heard them, you've made efforts to do what's necessary, and you've done the best you can, you've done all you can. There comes a point that Elohim will give you a release. If you are sincere about having that piece resolved, and it just seems like they don't want to, then they're not of you. They want to literally turn whatever you're doing into what they want. And that's not how it works. You should never be changed for someone, because if they can change you once, they'll force you and manipulate you into changing again. And at the end of the day, that's called control. So when two people come together to converse over a subject matter, and one doesn't see it, and we're putting everything on the table, that does not become your responsibility to help them see it. You've been honest. Open your heart. Be transparent. Give them what you know. What is your governance? The word says this. How about you? Yeah, I believe that, but, okay, what's your but? Okay, well, the word says this, but, okay, after 18 buts, this person doesn't want to be reconciled. They want what they want. And you, as many have fallen victim to, should never, ever connect, because you're not in agreement. And it's not that there should be hatred or animosity or any kind of weird vitriol. It's just that you see things differently. We over here are going this way. That's what you believe. There's a group out there that believes like you believe. Please go be with and enjoy life. And I'm praying for you, the greatest of life for you. All right. So these are things that are teaching moments so that we understand how not to be manipulated inside of a construct of religion claiming to be Elohim. Now, that deals with the 9 times. Now, the other part that I want us all to understand and remember, if you got aught with your brother, don't try to minister to anybody. I have to shut down my entire schedule today of scheduled appointments because I can't even counsel to people until I get that resolved. That's not any clap or shade against who I have not been able to connect with. That's just the principles of the kingdom. I can't go serving a marriage and counseling right now. I can't go serve any child who needs to be counseled right now. I can't go to another pastor who is under tutelage and counseling and coaching from me until I'm whole. I can't go there knowing that someone has aught with me. I got to go get that fixed, close that door, and then present my wholeness to those that I counsel, those that we minister to, thus the programming we're having today as a teachable moment. Now, Here is the part that's important. When that happens, you have a shutdown. And all of this, again, Christian, I'm dear heart, I'm asking you to listen. If you have something that's don't put this on the thread right now. I'm asking you politely, and I'm not sure you're hearing me. Maybe there's a delay. Please cease. If you have been trying to reach our office, we will get to you. If you listen to what we're telling you, you'll see why you may not have been gotten to. I'm trying to help and transparency, but this ain't about you. It's about so much more than just you. So please cease and desist. I don't want to have to remove you. I'd love for you to hang out and stay with us. Okay? All right. I didn't ask you still typing. Now, I'm trying to be as calm as I can. I'm going to make this last deletion. The next one won't be your comment. And I say that in love, not in control, but this is a platform that we have to make sure the message of what we're teaching goes forward. Now, understand, people, that when the principles are applied in this new setting that you may have joined into, and then the defaults of where we cut our teeth from may kick in, it can look as if they go against each other and somebody's not holding up their part and doing their thing. That's not how it is. Any transition requires preparation for the practical applications. And we oftentimes like, well, that's not what I'm used to. I get that, but that is what you're used to, not what we do here. Well, that ain't right. I don't think that that's right. That's fair enough. I can respect that. However, that's not what we do here. Now, if you decided to join DKM or VWJ Ministries, and just on the strength of being excited that you've learned so many great new wonderful things, I get that. But before you make that choice, which is why we never tell you, hey, you can join us if you want, or come on in, just come on. No, we like, listen, you have to let us know you want to become a part of this ministry. And when you do, we explain to you by a meeting, setting down all of the things that we do. Now, well, we don't have a web page. We want stuff. We want y'all to put it all on a web post and put it up. We don't do that. That's what you want. Good luck with that. Here, we sit with you. It's relational. And everything is per the writ. That's why you keep coming back. But we're not where you came from. And we're not going to be where you came from, because I left all of that. Now, how does that affect us in this next portion of this conversation? When the kingdom principle is applied, when you have art with your brother, you got to get that straight before you can minister to anybody else. I believe that. Teach every pastor we have, every minister we have, every person in KYC that we have that graduates KYC, and every person who comes to enjoy the teachings. And all of our stuff is for free. We don't make you do anything. You've never heard us barter you or browbeat you or Bible thump you into coming a part of this ministry. We don't care about growth. We care about church growth. We care about your personal growth with the Father. So everything is for free. His word is free. I should not be selling it to you in a book. That's my personal understanding. And it's in the word. But typically under the constructs we have, there is a system that works well monetarily for those who are given to it. They want to put it in a book and then tag you $18.99 or $29.97 for their book. I don't come against that. That's what they do, and it's your choice to choose. Here, everything is free, but we are not where you came from. And I stand by that, by the power of the writ. Where you're supposed to be a pastor and you're supposed to do this. That's what Christian pastors taught you. And I was one propagating Every single solitary tenet. We've studied and we see this thing in a different light, and we read it and we function from it in that practicum. Now, last part. When the kingdom is being demonstrated and you're seeing this, hey, he can't minister because he's realized someone somewhere has aught. Not that I have aught with them, I don't. But someone has aught with you. You get that aught straight. Again, if you've tried time and time again to get that aught straight and they're just not wanting to come to that center, you can't do anything about that. Yahweh may give you permission to move on, and that's okay. But make sure you've made every effort to communicate. And just because they don't think you did doesn't mean you haven't. That's just how we perceive it. And we all have our personal rights to perception. So when you have aught, I have to shut down, or I find out someone has aught and I'm not sure if they got aught. As many of you know, I will shut down the whole schedule of preaching, even counseling, to get with some of you. And because we are spanned all across this globe, and you don't have a counseling session with any of my other ministers because they're busy with their lives and the way that Christendom has done people, I'm not in alignment with how we've made people leave their jobs, almost lose their jobs to do ministerial work that, can affect them and get them in trouble. And then they get burnt out. Now they're tired, and pastor keep making me do this and apostle keep having me do that. And I'm just tired. And we don't ever want that. If you're a part of DKM and DWJ Ministries, we don't make you work at nothing. Nothing. Those who are with me and those who will be with us already understand coming in what this is about and how we do it easily. And we do make the work of what we do in the counseling. I am not patting ourselves on the back. We make it look very, very easy. And you have no idea what goes on in the back offices of how to get what we get done. So we streamline it and we give you a process. Use that process. Does things slip through the cracks? Yeah. Welcome to any kind of business. But do most of our stuff, and I do mean 90% of our stuff, get accomplished as we tack it out? Absolutely, it does. Do people still feel that that's not enough for them because of where they came from? 100%. Do we judge them by that and tell them, and get mad with them and fuss at them about it? No, we may deal with you about you, but we don't deal with you about that because we understand the transition. Me and the staff that we have to come through that transition. And we got to remember, that's how we were back there. So let's give them the grace and let's walk them through easily. But for those of you, and there are many of you on the call right now, many of you on broadcast right now who have had what you call no shows by Apostle V.W. Jones. Today, 2 people, because I was trying to remedy the circumstances, have a no show from me on a counseling session for them. Now, I go back to that person, each of them, and I get those no-shows corrected, and I explain to them. But in the middle of the emergency, whether it is handling an aught, and I can't deal with you because I found out someone's mistaken what I've said, misunderstood what we've delivered, has an aught with me for whatever reason, I got to get that right with them before I do anything from me for the glory of Elohim, for the kingdom. I can't just do it for me. It's got to be for his kingdom. And if I'm not kingdom sharp, if I'm not kingdom dressed, I can't represent the kingdom. And a lot of you are teaching with gossip in your soul, harboring animosity against whoever didn't forgive you or you don't want to forgive them, having unforgiveness, having malicious intent, and you still trying to preach the gospel. You're not kingdom dressed. I don't want to be that way. And so for me to be kingdom dressed is important if I'm going to do kingdom presentation. That's why it says in Ephesians, having done all, stand, be dressed in the full armor. And if I don't have my helmet on, if it's crooked, I'm not dressed. If I don't have my loincloth on, if I don't have my breastplate on, I'm not dressed. And if that's because someone has aught with me, I got to go make sure that I got that part polished and attached as it's supposed to be. Now I can stand and look like Elohim is able. Until we get that resolved, I can't. I'd be propagating a fraud because I'm not whole trying to preach wholeness. I stand on that. From my very soul, I stand on that. Am I perfect? Do I miss the mark? Absolutely. Do I judge you when you miss it? Absolutely not. But I look toward how can we get you where you need to be? Now, this ain't about me. This is about the principles of what we do and how the kingdom, this is the teachable moment for kingdom principle. When I have to do a no show, no call, no show, it's really not a no call, no show. It's just that our office is so loaded. And Elder Page, whew, I don't know why Yahweh loved me so much to give me people in my life like Elder Page, Elder Thomas, Elder Apostle Walker, who are so efficient and proficient at what they do, making what we do streamlining easier. What we do is a monumental task. Huge. And you've got churches who they got whole counseling regimens and 5 pastors in the counseling regimen and don't do what we do. And yet you have to deal with people not being able to appreciate that, because in this ministry, we don't brag about what we do. We just do it. That's why you see me wear so much Nike. No disrespect. I get no plugs. I get no endorsements. I just believe Nike means get victory for the people. We just do it. We don't brag about it. With whatever the charge is in front of us, we move it as best we can. If the tools aren't there, we figure out a way to get it accomplished. We just do it. So in that construct of thought, if a no call, no show comes, Elder Page and I and my other administrators in other aspects, Elder Page does the spiritual side. I got other administrators in business and other administrators from my personal life. We go after those to make sure we've settled and we've rescheduled and we've made sure that they're okay. And if I have to break my back to meet them because if it's an urgent matter, the only way I miss a session in a no call, no show is if I have this very rare but potential scenario, like I realize someone has aught with me. I got to be whole before I present me to someone else to help make them whole. Or there is a matter in my area, like a shooting or a disaster, hurricane or some storm or some act of God, where I've been called in by the mayor or the police or the sheriff, and I don't tell y'all about that. And sometimes my administrator, who has other major, very serious commitments that they're doing as well, we can't click in text and email as quickly as we can. And you might think, oh, they ain't no real church. They just disrespected me. They ain't got no time for me. I've scheduled 2-3 times for an appointment, and he's late or whatever. And it's true. It is so true. It can happen. I can easily be late, but I promise you I'm coming. Or in some cases, if I am a no call, no show, I'm doing the urgent matter, which I believe has, as we say, trumped, I dare say that word, but trumped or has taken precedent over what's on the schedule. It has been prioritized based on our scale, that it is important to be done. And therefore we get that done. And then we try to fix whatever else is under that. That's just management. That's not finagling. That's working through your issues and trying to, that's problem solving. So when I'm late, I'm not out loafing off. I'm dealing with another citizen's issue that happened to, based on our schedule for study or talk about progress, may, because of domestic violence, rape in the family, murder, or whatever is going on. That's another citizen in the kingdom. This DKM, VWJ, and we don't talk about people's issues in here. We just help them get whole. So if those types of things come up, yeah, I might have to push you back, and I'll do my best, if I don't have blood on my hands, typing on my phone, to let you know, hey, I'm running behind. Your marriage session means everything to me, but I'm running behind. Hey, the time to talk about your studies because you're coming to KYC2, or you're coming to sit with me because you're a pastor or leader. I'm coming. I'm going to get my best to get there, but I got a matter that's developed. Or, God forbid, as I've had this last 3 months for the first time in a long time, my own personal health that I've had to attend to. Yesterday, my cap came off. I just had surgery the other day, and that surgery failed. They got me in by emergency, and it happened to fall before another session. I made amends. I called them on the way and then set up for later, but later got a problem because later I got the physician to help me be able to talk so I could teach the KYC graduation course. And things just happen, but it's never intentional. You matter. We would not break our necks in this ministry of DKM and VWJ and also CFC to put a schedule together to leave you hanging. The reason we do ministry this way is because we were left hanging, and we don't ever want to duplicate those experiences or cause you PTSDs by them. All we want you to understand is, before you think it's about you and you think we just around here because we're virtual, ripping and running, everything I do now, I just don't do it in a suit anymore. I have to schedule private time for me so that I'm mentally capable to deal with all the issues of other people's mental issues, spiritual issues, marital issues, and then help guide them to places they can get the greatest help. I don't abandon any of you. It may look like that, and I'm aware how the enemy of faith, if you haven't communicated the information, will make it look just like he did Isha in the garden. Adam did not communicate, hey, babe, don't eat that tree. She had enough information to know about the tree, but she didn't have enough information to understand the functionality of the command. And the enemy of faith made it look like God was hiding something from you. So I'm familiar with the principalities and powers strategies. So some of y'all be talking and preaching about strategies of the kingdom and strategies of the enemy. Be careful of pontificating stuff you don't really understand and then can overcome by standing on it and moving forward. So in this moment, which is coming to an end, I'm hoping that I can connect, because I know this person, I love this person so very much. And it's made me now in introspect realize I want to go chat with another person as well, to make sure they're good. And so this is good. This is good kingdom. This is good citizenship. This is good commonwealth thinking and living. So I know that they're very busy. Their schedule is very demanding. And when we can connect, we're going to connect. But if I don't connect with them before they're out of their meetings, which are very valuable and important because they are very important people, then I may not be able to minister tonight, even on our the Ross Kingdom Ministries midweek Bible study and the series we're in. It wouldn't matter if I had a brick and mortar church. It would still happen that way. I'd probably put someone else up to teach. But then again, I got to make sure that they're whole as well. Now I'm going to ask you to type, do you all understand what I'm saying? And or what is trying to be conveyed here? Literally, not out of narcissism, not out of sociopath, um, you know, not out of reverse psychology, just out of transparency. And because we don't believe that people need every ounce of information because we're already nosy by nature, we just get work done. Sometimes if you don't know what we got to go through to get that work done, you think we have no respect for you or your time. So if you should not have, as it were, the opportunity to communicate with me, or I miss appointment with you, you better believe it's another brother or sister just like you in this particular ministry that is the only one that could trump your situation. This week, we've had so many people evicted from homes. We've had so many people searching for scholarships to get their children in because scholarships failed. We find people, all these types of things, but we don't talk about that on our broadcast, do we? We don't talk about all the funerals and the counseling for families who have passed, and we have multiple passings, not just in our ministry, but in our community, and people look up to me. I don't brag about that to you guys on TV, on broadcast. I don't put that up to say, come to this church because we do all this. We do what's supposed to be done. We just get it out the mud. And we pray that everything we've done builds a better relationship between the person and the Father. And I'm going to wash my hands and come on broadcast. Some of y'all don't know I've come right out of shootings and gone right to the pulpit. Literally. I've come right out of the mayor's office and gone right into the pulpit. I've come right out of a domestic violence situation, gone right into the pulpit. I've come right out of someone's mental breakdown, carrying all that on me, asking Yahweh to please not let that show through and teach his gospel. But y'all don't know about that. But we're quick, if we don't have the information, to throw us under the bus. And guess what? We're cool with it. Elder Page and I, y'all have no idea. Many need to be glad we're saved. We get it. we get it. They don't know. So we're not going to read them in. They just don't know. And if you don't know how to respond. And in that, we want to make sure today you have at least some information. If you are a part of DKM, Daraj Kingdom Ministries, when you need us and it matters, some of you have called in your emergency, and I've had to put someone else back because your issue prioritizes. But now when the tables are reversed, you don't realize that when you were going through crisis, we jumped you from somebody else in our ministry. And then your scheduled appointment for studying Ephesians 2 got pushed back. You're not dying. You're not bleeding. You may be going through some stuff you want to bring out in your meeting that was set for study, and then stop the study because you have me for that hour and a half, and 2 hours, it's your time. And then you say, well, something has happened since I scheduled this meeting and I want to talk about it. Well, my mind. Well, my finances. Well, my job. Well, whatever, right? And we deal with that because you have that time. You have me locked in. But if we don't know that there is a utter priority there, and you don't call to say, hey, listen, I need to change the importance level of this meeting with Apostle. Because if I get a child who's being dealt with wrong by their house, home, or whatever, I got to deal with that. If I got someone being wrongly arrested and accused, I got to deal with that. That mother, that father, that person, I got to deal with that. And they're not just people out, they're people in. People close to my chest get that prioritization. My job ain't to save everybody. My job is to deal with them that are in our house. I don't think many of you realize how many are in our house because you see these little small numbers on the video feeds and small numbers on Clubhouse. We are global, and we do global work, and we do it as if we're in that country while we're doing it. That almost sounded like I'm asking y'all to cut us a break, and I'm not. I'm asking y'all to consider that before you cut our throats, because you don't know what we're doing. And some of you are upset about no call, no shows, or upset about being late. My time is valuable. And when if we ever took a tally for the amount of no call, no shows that we have, we wouldn't even take meetings anymore. We've learned how to adjust because it happens. We know it happens. So we're not going to fuss with you. Hey, I couldn't make it. I'm so sorry. Don't you worry about it. Believe me, I get it. And it ain't that you out here just, lollygagging and whatever off. You're not. I get it. But neither are we here at DKM and VWJ Ministries. We literally care for you. But we care for the whole of us. And if your issue does not prioritize over one that just came in, though you're scheduled, I do my best to contact you. But I need y'all to know, as a general rule of thumb, not to hide under it as some masquerade or some veneer that we can say, I can use this anytime because you're the man of God. We know you busy. No, I'm busy about you. Each and every one of you who are citizens in this kingdom post. And because we're so confidential, we don't share other people's issues when we miss your meeting. So you don't know why we missed the meeting. And if I were to tell you, you'd be like, oh, snap. But we can't, because we take that seriously. So today, I'm going to try and reach out to my dear beloved brethren, and we'll probably get it remedied. But in the event you don't have us on tonight, I may decide to put up a replay of something significant. But I felt that it was a necessity as I was outside in the sunshine driving. I'm like, I can't reach that person. Let me try to get them. And then when my staff contacts and we try to reach, they're in meetings, and I get it. I know what they do. I still can't do anything until we've remedied the problem. Even if they say, no, we good. You're not, and we're not. And I can't go forward. I got to be whole. What caused our rift? Did I not consider something? I don't think I am above any of you. That's how we hold each other accountable. And any pastor or leader in the faith of the kingdom of Elohim worth his or her salt, that's how you hold yourself and others accountable. So if you got aught with me from a misunderstanding, you're holding me accountable to help you understand. And until we get that aught straight, if you are a citizen, if you're not a citizen, that's a issue in itself, but same principle, but it's at a different level. But if you are a citizen of this kingdom, citizenship, this kingdom post in the earth of Elohim's kingdom, we will in fact make sure that we are solid before we ever begin to teach and speak. Because I can't teach wholeness from a place that has separation. That's where the serpent bites. Where there's a crack in the hedge, the serpent will bite. You will never read that passage the same way again. All right. My job is done. DKM, I hope that you guys understand my heart about this. And those of you who may not know me, you may have learned something you didn't know. We take this seriously. Are any of us perfect? Absolutely not. Do we all need space for his grace? We absolutely 100% do. But when it comes to the principles of how to operate, we have to apply them, and we got to be for real about them. You can't pick them up and put them down when it's convenient. Today's series is extremely important. But this person right here who is in this faith with us, who is saying, hey, I'm not understanding this and I got aught with you behind it, I got to go get that straight before I feed the rest. And it's easy to get it straight if we can communicate. The problem is we're having a hard time getting each other. And until that's done, I can't say, well, I'll get to them. Yeah, they'll be okay. I know this person. They're going to be all right. So let's go ahead and teach on, preach on, teach on. No, because I'm still broken. I got to be whole before I come to you to present unity of the faith. And I myself am not whole. I hope this reaches every single solitary propagating gospel, so-called or properly called individual who orates and leads by faith. We are for real about this life. We don't just bump our gums and talk about it. So today, I need to stop talking because I don't want it to sound like we're asking you again for any kind of mercy. I just want you to know how we hold this accountability in earnest. So to each and one of you, I pray you will consider before you don't get back on the books with Apostle because he too busy. He too busy. I'm busy about you and every person that is a citizen of our kingdom. And I can tell you, we busy, but we're busy about you. And we have redefined based on the instructions of the Torah and how the tabernacle Elohim design should work. We have restructured everything around the Torah, and we are busy. But that is being busy about you. So your meetings with us matter. Your sessions of study with us matter. Your marriage, your children, your job, your finances, your spiritual, your prayer life, your mental, all of that matters. And we schedule it with you, and we do a pretty good job. And then life has the right to interject itself and shuffle right into our deck. Sometimes we get it 100% right. Sometimes we get it wrong, but it's never intentional when it's wrong. Sometimes it drops out of our hand because there was something that made my hand open and it slipped through the cracks. And that's never good. We don't apologize for that. We repent for that. But give us the opportunity to make it all right. That's what this is about. And church has made us think that we got to be so perfect and they do all this. And dear heart, I assure you this, half the people you've ever had covering your life, I assure you, don't care about your growth in faith the way we do. And I want nothing from you. I don't want nothing out your pockets. I don't want nothing from your house. I want you to know him and what he says you should be doing so you can be pleasing to him. We don't ask you for anything. We teach you his word. And we do that for free. It's up to you to obey the word. No one knocks on your door. No one sends you an email and tells you get your tithe in, tells you to get your offering. No one tells you to get your assessments in, get your pastor's appreciation. We don't do any of that garbage. But it's funny how those who care about your foundationalizing and don't get into all that external element that profits you nothing. And we find that, oh, you hurt, you bothered, you hurt, you disrespected my time. I just want to make sure you guys know we really don't. We care for you. It's up to you to believe it. It's up to you how you perceive it. Now, I want a very clear answer from anyone on my platforms. We had an incident with, I think it was a Christian. Tell me no one deleted that person. Please tell me that no one should be running my controls. But that person, I don't mind them at all being here. But at the time I was communicating, I didn't have time for the distractions. However, I did not delete that person. And I have no problem conversing with that person. My issue becomes whether someone else thinking they were helping me did so. If you deleted them, if you're here, not because I've not seen anything else since, I'm glad they obeyed. But if it's because they were deleted, I'm going to have a problem with that. So here, the buck stops right here at this office with this person on any matters of this ministry. And that's respectfully stated because Elohim gave the charge, and we have to obey it, and we have to uplift it, and we have to uphold it. So to all of you here today, I love you with the love of Elohim. I am not perfect. I remember one time I fell asleep on a counseling session. And so that was sort of kind of embarrassing. But the counseling session was in a time zone that wasn't my time zone, and I have to be on a 24-hour clock. So I have to try to make sure I'm in bed by 4:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time so I can get up by 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time because of the time zones I serve. No one knows that. Now, some of you do. But don't feel any pity because I do that for you. I'm serious about having access to someone who can guide you to the word. And until we can do something different, that is what we've been doing for decades. And we have not had the communication conversations as often. But those of them that were with us in brick and mortar churches, they knew what we did, how we did it. And some of you, or more of you, are now not from our brick and mortar days. So you don't know how much I run, how much I work. They call me the Energizer Bunny. But at the end of the day, today, I hope that we can bring some clarity to many of you. I'm not here to be your friend, but I promise you, I'm going to point you to the friend who promised to stick closer to you than any brother. And I'm going to leave you with that and him in his arms and in his care. And however he says, the word says I can help you or should help you, I want to be there to do that. That's kingdom. You may agree, you may not agree. At the end of the day, we're going to do it for and with you. Now, we don't stand for foolishness either. Y'all know me, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. And a lot of people will deem you as rude because you are direct. I have an alias. I want to give you my alias. They call me VW Jones. Y'all know that. But they also call me Frank, rather blunt. Get it? Frank, first name, rather middle name, blunt, last name. And I honor that because it's time out for us hyping up, gassing up people. I'm going to be straight with you. And some people don't want to be straight. They want to be coddled, and they want to be patted, and they want to be stroked. If you are injured, I got to get you to the hospital. I got to get you healed. If you are thirsty, I got to get that water in you. If you are hungry, I got to get on the stove and cook you that meal until you can get up the strength to do it yourself. So I don't have time to coddle you. I got time to do what you need me to do. And guess what? Once I've done that and I've secured you, guess what? It don't stop where I got time to sit and talk with you about, incidental ancillary issues. I got to keep going to the next person who may need similar services. That's the reality of the world I live in. And it's not a reflection. If you called and you put that bat signal up and you said, hey, I'm in, and staff says, hey, Apostle, get there. Guess where I'm at? I'm going to make sure you're comfortable. I'm not going to inappropriately utilize. I'm going to make sure everything that you need is right. Are you good? Yeah, I'm good. You got nutrition? Yeah, I got it. I feel better. You got water? Yes, I'm feeling hydrated. Your lips are a little white, so put some Vaseline on your lips. There you go. All right, good. You feel better? Great. Your bill paid? your issue you was concerned with, you have a better soundness of mind about that situation, you're looking at it differently. Yes, I am. All right. Tune in. I'll try to check back with you shortly, but I got to move because somebody else is in another situation similar to yours. Well, don't you want to stay here with me and hang out with me for a little while? We just sit and talk for a little while. I'd love to, beloved, but somebody else is calling right now for the same similar life-threatening situations you're in. There is nothing new under the sun. Your situation is no different than the next person's. They are unique to you, but the value and the issue to them in its severity is no different. But when we only thinking about us, that's all we ever see. In ministry, we learn how to blow that off and keep it moving. Some people can't handle that, and then they snap, tell you off, and everything else, and whatever else. It's one thing to put somebody in check in love. It's another thing to be upset with them because they complained about their situation. Leaders in the kingdom got to understand how to operate. And people in the kingdom got to stop thinking that we're here to kiss your backside. I'm not here to kiss your backside. I'm here to push you towards him by your backside, or lead you to him by pulling you up to him. Here is where I'm at. Here is where he's at. Come on, get in here. Go before me. Let you cut the line. Get in front of me. Go get what you need from him. Here he is. And then I leave you there and find someone else who needs to climb this height and figure out how to walk in this way, using the light, using the rod, using their staff properly, or just giving them energy. Christendom has made us a bunch of babies, entitled, not self-sufficient. And you feel you need the touch of somebody else to make you feel all right. You don't know what people going through out here. Believe me, I do. I think that's why I'm qualified to be out here. Because if I told you my story, I lace them in to some of the teachings, but you don't know me. But I give everything I got to you when it's appropriate. My job is done here today. Hope that was edifying to you all. And I hope it can be respected and appreciated as I say it and I give it in love. And I'm sure some will still take it the wrong way. Just know that it's not an act of humility. It's a necessity. And it's sincere. So if you don't see me tonight, we'll keep you posted on all our necessary channel lines. Nope, nobody's down, sad. I'm trying to make sure I got everything, right in my head and have shared with you all I wanted to share with you. I'm going to head down to the office and try to get something done, and maybe I'll be able to do a broadcast from there later. But right now, I'm going to try and contact my beloved brethren and make sure we can get some stuff straight, chat with them, get it up, make it good. All right. So this is Apostle V.W. Jones. I spoke this and I endorse this. May Yahweh bless your lives is my earnest prayer. If you got a question or a thought, contact us. And guess what? If we don't get right back to you immediately, you do not fuss at my administrator. That's like you getting a meal from McDonald's. Not that Elder Page would ever do this, but it's the arrogance of you to think that a system that has been in place before you ever got here and will be here long after you, should you decide to leave, go, that you have the right to come in and change the paint on our walls. If you don't like what you say you joined into, then you have the right. The door is open. You have the right to go your way. And we wish you the best. Still going to pray for you. Ain't going to talk about you. But don't feel like you are entitled, nor you got the right to talk to Elder Page any kind of way because you don't understand, or blow her phone up, or blow my phone if you have that access up, thinking that that's going to make it better. So you're making me look at something while I'm in another crisis because your pettiness you think is over this person bleeding out in my hands. Oh, because you don't really think we do real work. I get it. I told y'all, we get it. And it will always be that way because you don't need to know everything. But we do want you to know we're going to be here for you anytime we can be. So if you text and call, Elder Page will get to you, I promise you. And when we make a mistake, we make amends. Just give us the grace. And if it's an emergency, a real emergency, then you know you can reach out and you know the avenues, if you're a citizen, of what your codes are for emergencies. And we will get to you. I hope that helped. DKM, I love you. VWJ, I love y'all. Those of you in Preceding Word who are parts of our DKM on Clubhouse, you guys are new to our ministry, and we're glad that you guys have come in, and we hope that you are learning kingdom over church every day. Well, my job is done. It's been a joy and a pleasure. I promise you, I desire, and here is my prayer, that Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face to shine on you and be gracious unto you. May Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and grant you all 13 attributes of his shalom. Amen. Now, to the mothers inside of DKM and VWJ Ministries. Apostle Jones is not going through any mental breakdown, psychological falter. We don't need you texting and calling, Apostle, you okay? That's church. Don't do that. We good. That will frustrate me to no end. Just know I trusted you enough to share this with you so you and I know how to operate together. I am fine. Do not send me, because of that default, moms. Is Apostle all right? He okay? I can't tell you how I look at these things. I'm like, Father, how long must I be with you? All right. Y'all got that? Do not send me a million texts when I get off this broadcast asking, is Apostle okay? He is fine. You're looking at me. Do I look conscious? I look fine. I look lucid. I look strong. Yeah. We're communicating. And that's what we don't do in Christendom until we are in a crisis. We're not in a crisis. I just used the moment to share. Maybe it's time to remind people. Okay? I love you. I mean it from my soul. And love is not a word that is just spoken. It is an action. And sometimes you don't see the action of love towards you. And because you don't see it, and you are so used to liars telling you they love you and constantly saying they love you, that you think love is them telling you they love you. When love is action. Love is what it does. And every time you go through crisis, we are here. So I can say to you, as we would say in a marriage, I do when I love you. All right, everybody, it's been a joy and a pleasure. Yours truly, Apostle V.W. Jones. Have a good day.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.